What happens to the old karts when a TeamSport track switches to electric? Well, they get sent to a track that desperately needs a new set. Cue the arrival of a brand new second-hand fleet to Leicester, conveniently just in time for the BIKC regional finals. Upon arrival, we found an empty track, and I must say a big thank you to Tom, as without him I wouldn't have joined in this session. Having finally found my way ahead of Dan, I had the opportunity to experiment and see how this changes things. And before long, I'd set not one, not two, not even three, but 4 new personal best lap times. And while the last of these fastest laps plays out, I'd like to thank you all for your continued support, particularly in this lead up to the BIKC regional finals. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, I'd really appreciate that show of support. It's free to do and will really help this channel to continue to grow. So now on to the main event for tonight's video. The format is one of my favourites, it's GP2. I can't remember exactly, but I think it was changed up slightly tonight. We've ended up with enough time for 25 laps in a rather eventful qualifying before going on to the race, which is 35 minutes with a mandatory pit stop to swap karts. I also ended up needing the pits again after that, and you'll shortly find out why. I felt rather fortunate in qualifying. Having found myself following Amelia around, I picked up a couple of ideas and was feeling pretty good. Till lap 7, when the red flag came out. With a broken cart a little way up ahead, I soon spotted the remains of the belt that once provided the drive to those rear wheels. With the cart recovered and the belt remains collected, the track returns to green flags. My cart coughs and splutters into life just as it had at the start of this session. Once going, it did then seem okay again. At the end of qualifying, I did let the staff know and they removed it from use. I wouldn't have wanted to try and start the race in it. Amelia had pulled away from me whilst my cart got back up to speed, and she'd passed Lily, who now had the same idea as me, that's follow Amelia closely to go faster. Eventually though, I found some reasonably clear track and pushed hard. And there's another new personal best lap time coming here. I'll be rather happy with a 36-second lap tonight if I can then. So having spent the remaining laps unable to find my way in front of kart 14, the session came to an end with myself qualifying down in 9th place of 16 drivers. It's time for a very short break as this event was being run again later in the evening. Then back into different karts and we line up on the grid. It's a good reaction and we all seem to get away cleanly. Can we also make it through the hairpin? So far, so good. I am side by side with another driver, moving from inside to outside, before going back to the inside to go under the ramp and up into 8th place. Now I'm finding myself dropping away from the karts ahead, as I feel like I need to defend quite a lot right now. I get a bit of a hit at the first hairpin, just pushing me a little on the brakes. The kart behind seems to get a contact warning as a result. And it looks like we've got a first pit stop from the lead pack. I move up into 7th place as a result. The karts behind me have started fighting, so I'm not having to defend. I'm hoping to pull away a little whilst I can then. A few laps later and I'm feeling I've got all I can from this kart. The more I started to push, the less confidence I had with the brakes. I had opened up the gap a little bit, but I can see it starting to close again now. And there is someone else in the pits now, so that's up into 6th place that I go. The TeamSport timing doesn't have this listed as a position gained, but shortly that won't matter much anyway. Having been hit hard by 2 karts on the banked hairpin, I go as defensive as I can. And then I decide to aim for the dive bomb at the teardrop, forgetting the brakes weren't great in this kart. It didn't work, but I guess that'll be a warning just like the other drivers get. I decide that it's also time to hit the pits. Literally. The marshal seems a little confused, but I swap car as I had planned. I come out of the pits, not last, but 15th place. I'm passed, but it doesn't appear to be for position. No warnings, just straight to a black flag for me. Now, of course, I'm thinking, was it for my appalling entry into the pits? Possibly. Or was it for their contact at the teardrop? That's also a possibility. The more I thought about it, the more I was sure it was for the pits. After all, we've seen plenty of people get away with warnings for contact up on that top corner. At least I can enter the pits this time. Forgetting that it's just a stop-go penalty, I looked to the marshal for some answers. Never mind though, let's get back to it. I did later inquire and found out that it was for the incident and the contact at the top corner. There is still plenty of time left though, so let's not think about it too much and just try and focus. I found myself in no man's land with no one around me, free to push as hard as I could. Not that I knew, but my lap times had been falling. I could see the other karts and I knew I was going a little bit quicker than they were. I was somewhat hopeful that I could eventually catch back up. And that motivation was quite a strong force. I could recognise some of the drivers as those who started the race around me. That was even more motivation to push as hard as I could. I'd lost time having to pit twice, but maybe, just maybe, I could recover some of that. The lap time falls again, this time breaking through into the 36-second laps. I calculate the gap ahead to be about 8 seconds, but I've no idea how long is left of the race or how quickly I'm catching, or if I'm really catching at all. No, I can see it. I'm definitely catching them. I continue to push and I can see that I'm catching some of them much quicker than I thought I was. I've caught the guy who appeared from the pits in front of me earlier on. It didn't count as a pass then, and it's not a pass now. He's either in 16th place or still a lap up on me, so I've still got some work to do then. Up ahead, I see Gary entering the pits. He started the race directly behind me and is back behind me now, where he spent much of the BIKC local finals. Sorry to rub it in again. But there are more karts ahead. I'm still pushing hard, even harder than before, knowing that I've just passed Gary. So hard, in fact, that I'm not actually sure I can do that again. A 36.7? I think I'd be happy with that if it were a qualifying session for the regional finals. I glance to my right and I'm pretty sure that's Gary coming down the ramp. He must have had a slow stop. Let's not focus on karts behind though. There's a driver in the pits up ahead and that's 13th place for me. This is a recovery drive now, so let's see what I can do. This seems to be the time that people are choosing to pits and we go up into 12th place now. It's another lap, another pit stop and another position gained. And it's still happening. This time it looks like it's Dan in the pits for me. Now I'm seeing Tom up ahead, but I don't seem to be catching him anymore. It would be nice though. The green flag is waved. That means we've got 5 minutes left of the race. If anyone hasn't stopped yet, they're likely to do so now. And that is exactly what happens as another driver peels off into the pits and I take 9th place.
No idea where I am. No idea anywhere else. That's
I noticed that Tom and I were catching Gary once again, rather rapidly. I'm completely lost of where I am. Am I on the same lap as Tom? Would this pass on Gary now be for position? All sorts of thoughts are running through my head. But I have no time to worry about that though, as the yellow flag appears. It turns red. If we do a rolling restart, I may get my answer. I may find out where I'm placed. Here we go. It's yellow flags, but a marshal is running to the start grid. Is this the end or a rolling restart? You know the answer as you have my handy overlay, but the tension builds in my helmet. I'm surprised to be called just after Tom. I must have been racing him then.
That's good news.
And as I approach the queue, I begin to count the karts ahead.
8? Don't know. I thought I was a lap down at least.
Although I need more maths lessons.
Yeah.
As before then, we'll go to green flags as the leader approaches that banked hairpin. But does Tom know this? Yes, he did, and immediately goes defensive. Despite feeling like I covered off the inside, I get a push through the hairpin. I need to keep close to the karts ahead. If anything happens, I need to be there to take advantage. It does happen ahead. I move to the inside though, and I end up losing a place as I can't then cover the inside for the left-handers. I get more contact from behind. I must have a target on me somewhere. There is a lot of action going on ahead on the final lap, but I'm unable to capitalise on any of it. And so I crossed the line, physically, in 10th place. I'm 9th though, according to the TeamSport timing app. I can only guess that the system went wrong or someone up ahead had a penalty applied to them post-race. Well, that is going to be it for my practices at Leicester. The next time I visit will be for those regional finals on the 20th of October. This video goes live the day after that, so to everyone who has competed in their own regionals, congratulations or commiserations. It's a hard-fought battle and you can only give it your best. Sometimes things don't go our way, and sometimes they are even out of our control completely. I am shocked and appalled to hear of how Taylor Campbell feels they were treated during their regional finals. I've left a link in the description to her post on Instagram, so please do take a moment to check that out. I really hope it's a unique experience and one that will never happen again. My next video will be my experience of the regional finals, and so until then, cheers.